I'm going to make this video about Dehancer plugin for Lightroom, and hopefully it'll help you decide if this is something that you would be actually interested in or if it's something not for you. So Dehancer reached out to me to make a video about their plugin for Lightroom for film simulations. So from my background, I've played with Fuji cameras and I really enjoy the film simulations. Somehow I've never been able to get the right look out of camera that I'm always happy with, so I end up editing it in RAW anyways, or editing RAW on the computer anyways. I mainly shoot Canon, and I also have a Panasonic LX100, little portable micro four thirds camera that has a little bit more of the dial, have a lot of the analog feel. The only thing on that camera that I miss compared to the Fujifilm is having those film simulations. So when Dehancer reached out to make a video and said it didn't matter, and having the freedom to say what I want to say about it after trying it out, I said why not? It's a good chance for me to test out film emulation on my mirrorless cameras as well as the LX100, and see if I can get the looks that I want and not having to do it all from scratch in in Photoshop or whatnot. So we can hop onto the computer and go through this Dehancer plugin for Lightroom and go through a bunch of photos that I took a while back in New York and Philadelphia. I thought it was fitting. The style of photos I did while traveling was more street photography, just capturing whatever caught my eye, and I figured this would be a good chance to use some of the film simulations and emulation for it. Alright, so I have Lightroom up here. To go into the plugin after installation, the instructions for installation was very straightforward and clear. To go into the plugin from the images, you can go to, you right click on the image and go edit in and go to edit in Dehancer Lightroom plugin. So there's the typical options where you can edit with your Lightroom adjustments versus the original or a copy. I'll just do the copy. The images I brought in here were already JPEGs that I've exported out with my Lightroom adjustments in the past. They were my old pictures from a few years ago. So yeah. So when you first go in here, yeah, on the left hand side you have presets from the Dehancer team. There's a bunch of them from Fuji, Agfa, Kodak. A lot of these I have to admit I personally haven't heard of them. There are different film stocks that you can get, and there's a preview on the side that you can hover, like you can click on them and you can quickly see what it would look like with these presets. Beside the Dehancer team ones, there are, if you go to all presets, there are even more. Some of them are created by, I guess, different individuals, and you can see who they're by and what combination based on the description. So this one is a specific film stock plus specific film plus glossy paper on Kodak. Yeah, so these are just some initial presets if you're just wanting minimal adjustments. These presets is a good starting point, and all of these are available on, from what I saw, I think a lot of these are, if not 100% of them, are available on the iOS app. A lot of these names are pretty familiar with what I've seen on the phone app. And beside the preset, there is profiles, and here you can select, isolate some of the different film that you want to use. You can do black and white, color positive, color negative, or you could just do all films and you can see all of them. And there are a huge list of them here. I personally have grown to like Portra 800 from my playing around, but yeah, there's just many different film to test out. And once you apply the film, on your right hand side there is a bunch of adjustments you can do. You can also turn on your histogram. It shows the histogram on the bottom. You can zoom in 100% and move around. And you can hide some of these panes to make your image bigger. And yeah, some of these based on your initial film, different adjustments are default set up. You can activate the other ones if you wanted to. And the plugin also has the quickly restore to original, which is nice. There's these base source adjustments that are similar to the adjustments you can do in Lightroom before you bring it into this plugin, but it's also nice to adjust it after you have the initial film adjustments applied, so you can get a better idea. Temperature compensation, tint compensation, still a further difference, and the radius, film developer, so you can boost some contrast or reduce it completely, gamma correction, and color separation. It's very subtle, and color boost. And if you want to undo everything, you can just hit this reverse arrow and it goes back. And you can uncheck it to deactivate it. And film compression. You can see the impact changes there. It's nice to see the histogram move and see what is actually changing as you're tweaking these settings. The white point, you can shift the white point. Tonal range. It's nice all these adjustments have the preview if you have this clicked on, so this lets you see it happen pretty quickly. And then the black point, you can see the histogram shift there. White point color mode. I'd say another big section here is the actual print output. So there's another step when you decide on which film paper. If you go Kodak 2383 or the glossy paper, the look finish output would be slightly different. And you can have a few adjustments there as well with the exposure from the actual printing step. When the image is processed onto paper, there's some final adjustments you can make there, which is a nice additional adjustment. And then there's color head. You can adjust specific colors in the yellow to blue range here, magenta and green, cyan and red, shadow tone, and mid-tone tones. So there are some nice finer adjustments there, and the highlight tones to really tweak the image to what you want as a final image. Yeah, so this is one from New York. I could throw on another film. And you can just see a bunch of these different adjustments can be made, and it's yeah, overall this layout, I think it's pretty straightforward to use, and really allows you to tweak the image to get the little details that you want. There's also film grain, which is nice. You can change the size of the grain, so you can get it bigger and smaller, the amount of it. if you max out the size, you can get a very heavy film grain. Some of the ones that if you click on the presets, I found the film grain to be a little bit too heavy for my liking, but so you're able to edge that off a little bit, which is nice. So you can change the resolution and how heavy it is in the shadows, midtones, and highlights. And then there's halation and bloom that you could also adjust, which is a nice additional thing that you can adjust in post. From my point of view, from whatever JPEG or RAW file that you started off with, there's a bunch of things you can do when you bring up this plugin. You can pretty much do all your editing in here and still get a pretty good image that you can be happy with. I would just say make sure your original photo is fairly exposed correctly. Anything in post, especially with a JPEG, will have limitations. So yeah, I'm gonna hit OK, and then it's back here as a copy, and I can export it. So it's actually faster to actually just show each profile on the screen to this image. So agfa, color 100. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go through a bunch of these. So at the next image, so this one's a different one because it is essentially a silhouette style photo of two people walking down the streets of New York with a flare right down the middle. So yeah, even looking at this, some of these profiles, I could probably just go with one and be happy without tweaking very much. So I stand corrected that if you do just like one-click presets, this does give you a quick starting point to an image that you could probably be very happy with. Dehancer has put in a lot of work, it seems, to get this conversion, the math on processing the image behind all this. They spend a lot of effort doing a lot of different test prints and comparisons to capture this film analog conversion and to make it robust in applying it to digital images. And it's pretty cool that these images look pretty nice. That's pretty sweet. Kodak Vision 3200T. Actually, I'm going to try some black and whites here. I really like that. The Agfa Scala 200X. Cool. This is very fun because some days it feels like with digital photography, with all these super sharp, super contrasty, super color saturated images, it's actually very nice to see some of the images produced on film. There is just a little bit more, I guess, emotion to it, if that makes sense. I don't know how to actually capture why these images or these looks just brings out something different compared to the original. Not saying the original isn't a good image. It's, in my opinion, it was very nice to begin with. But the final form, yeah, it just looks a little bit more special. Maybe it's just because my eyes are so used to digital images nowadays to look back at something that has a little bit more grain, feels more authentic, or yeah, I don't know what the right word is. It captures like something in the past versus just sharpness of reality. I don't know if that makes sense, or it just sounds bogus at this point. Here's another one. Yeah, so for some of this, you could probably use a little bit of a pull. These Fuji color ones are very nice. Yeah, there's just so many that I like that it's actually very hard to pick one. This Polaroid one on the 35mm looks very nice. I like that the color is just not as in your face, and it's just very subtle. I am gonna edit this one. Let's see. I do like my starting point with using the Kodax Portra 800. And yeah, in my opinion here, it feels a little bit too grainy. Can reduce the resolution a little bit. Lessen the mid-tones. And because there is the sun flare that I took in the picture, maybe the bloom. You can control the diffusion of the bloom a little bit there, and you can see it soften around the flare. And then you can amplify the overall bloom effect from none to overall. That's pretty cool. This is saving the lights, I guess, to make sure nothing gets blown out. And you can also desaturate it a little bit. Cool. Do you guys like this final? I kind of like it. Let's see. Yeah. And you kind of understand to get the name Dehancer, right? Look at the this image already originally had probably some noise in the original image, but as you can see with the film and the bloom, creates a different look altogether. Definitely have a lot of fun with this. Lots of possibilities where I think the whole layout is makes it easy to work with and to tweak it to the final image that you want to achieve. So I'm fairly happy with that. Okay, let's do one more. Let's see how this one goes. Kodax gold. That is beautiful. Again, this one with the flare. Let's see what we can do with the bloom. Creates a little bit of a glow with all the backlighting on each of the flower area there. Very interesting to see. But yeah, it's just pretty fun to be able to adjust all this. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I do photography, there is two parts that I really enjoy. There is the part about capturing the picture, the moment. There's two parts. Whenever I look at photography, there's 2 points of creativity that makes it very exciting for me. The first part is when you have the camera in hand and you capture the moment, what you see, what's happening the way it is. And then the next part of the creative process is bringing posts and manipulating it slightly to a final image of what you desire. So there's some things that you can change after you capture the image of the composition, the actual event, or the people that you captured. But the process afterwards of it's kind of like an artist with a canvas, like, except the canvas has a starting point and you can kind of tweak it and make it, not changing it completely, but making it and enhancing it to tell the story that you want to be told in the picture. And I feel like this Dehancer plugin actually, on top of your regular developing tools in Lightroom, gives another set of tools for you to create image in a different style, especially in the digital age of photography. So yeah, from this quick test, it's definitely growing on me. I don't think for me it's practical to apply it in like a whole photo album. I guess the way to do it is, if you do make a preset, I think you can make your own preset. Yeah, you can import or export or create okay. So one thing I didn't go over in that overview is you can create your own preset. So after you pick the profile, I made a bunch of adjustments. Let's say to the film grain, you didn't want as much resolution. So whatever tweak you made, you can make it into a new preset that you call by yourself, and you can say Canon less grain. Oh, max limit. Canon less. And it adds it to the bottom. So I don't know, if I were to do photos for people, unless it's a small set of photos that I know I'm gonna deliver, the workflow here might be a little bit slower when you have to start the plugin and then bring it back out, and then afterwards you need to filter out your plugin edited version with the original one because of the copies that were created. That one isn't as practical in a large workflow type of editing, but for a unique set of photos that you want to print or make a special online gallery, I can definitely see you can create a set of images that really fit together, or just make it a more unique gallery online. Going into it the first time, it was fairly easy to understand what everything does. There's a lot of maybe technical terms that might not make sense for everybody. Like some of the adjustments on the side, unless I Google it, I don't think I'll know what it actually does or what it means. But having that preview option lets you see what you're tweaking, which is really nice. And to be able to quickly revert it, this layout makes perfect sense. So I'm glad they did that. Yeah. So this is just my quick overview of some of these images. Overall, I'm running it on a Mac Mini M1, and it was very smooth. I had no issues with it, and there's a few film stock that I really enjoy, and having the freedom to tweak it, reduce the grain a little, instead of just a default click and go. I really like that because not every photo that you take, there's no easy template just to apply all. There's always a little bit of characteristics that you might want to pull out in an image more than another, and I think Dehancer really allows you to do that. Um, Overall, in my honest opinion, if you are a fan of just clicking presets and not looking and adjusting the photo after hitting the preset, then this might not be for you. Um, the history and the scientific research of how they developed this processing might be better than other filters and film simulations that you can get in an app. Um, but for if you only care about applying a preset, I, in my opinion, that might not be worth it for you. That call is yours for yourself. But if you're like me and you like having the freedom to tweak after applying a preset and still manipulate the image to get that final look that you're after, then check out Dehancer. Um, they have a plugin for DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere, and After Effects, as well as they also have one for iOS, for iPhones and iPads, which allow you to edit both photo and video. And it also has the full range of tools in the video editor for controlling the gate weave and film breath. I didn't even know what those were until I actually played around with it. But yeah, the app is very solid and easy to use. You can save your own presets as well after you've edited one to your liking. So the Dehancer app isn't just like other filter apps that you can find. It's based on the same science and research that they did for the desktop version of the application, and as close as possible to get that processing done on iOS. And so that's pretty cool. I've played around with it for my iPhone photos, and it can add, along with like portrait mode on your phone, it can just add a little bit of characteristic to your images instead of just your typical high resolution, high sharpness and contrasts that you see from modern digital cameras. So if you decided Dehancer is for you, there's an affiliate link where you can get a discount on the plugin. No obligations. If you just found this video helpful in helping you make that decision, the link is there for you to find in the description. And overall, enjoy and have fun playing around with film emulation. I for sure know I did, and I think it's a good alternative for me. So I don't no longer have to have FOMO with not owning a Fuji camera right now. I can play around with those film emulation in post with images I've taken from my Canon cameras or the Panasonic LX100. Yeah, so with these tools, I feel like I don't have as much of a FOMO with not having to spend extra money on a Fuji camera and lenses, and still have a fun experience and creating images that I like. So the next video I'll have will be on the DaVinci Resolve plugin with Dehancer. So far I have never done a lot of color correction in DaVinci. I play a little bit around with the adjustments for the image look, but I am very not experienced with manipulating like a C-Log file from the camera or doing some detailed color correction. So I thought the Dehancer plugin might be a good alternative to my post color grading experience. So yeah, my next video will be about that. So subscribe if you want to see that one come up. Cheers.